Welcome to Millennials and Money Cafe, where we create events to empower, inspire, and motivate millennials to love, live, and matter. I'm your host, Marilyn O'Malley, and my mission is to stop the needless struggle and suffering in the lives of sensitive and creative millennial leaders and to guide them to their turned-on lives, honoring themselves while they impact change in the world. Together, we can create and live a happy, healthy, and wealthy lifestyle that fosters the healing of mankind and the planet. I want you to know that you and your actions matter. Today, I have an amazing guest with me. I am so excited to introduce you to Anese Cavanaugh. Hello, Anese.
Hello, Marilyn.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
So let me share a little about Anese. Anese is devoted to helping people show up and bring their best selves to the table in order to create significant positive impact in their lives. She is the creator of the IEP Method, Intentional Energetic Presence, an advisor and thinking partner to leaders and organizations around the world, and author of Contagious Culture, Show Up, Set the Tone, and Intentionally Create an Organization that Thrives. And I highly recommend that book. And it's also not just for organizations, it's fabulous for individuals. As a leading voice on intention, energy, and presence in leadership and culture, she helps people unlock greater leadership potential, collaborate more inspiringly, and create more openly, intuit more bravely, and lead more joyfully and effectively. I love all the leads. Top innovators and executives in companies like IDEO, Zingerman's, Cooper, I'm going to be terrible at that.
Joie de vie. Joie de vie. You're
Okay,
good.
thank you. Fitbit and others have engaged with Anese to strengthen team health, maximize leadership impact, and optimize company culture. In addition to appearing in publications like HBR, The Huffington Post, CEO.com, Change This, Compro, and the New York Times, Anese writes regularly for Inc.com in her column, Showing Up. Woohoo! And you can find her on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn under at Anese Cavanaugh. And let me spell that for you all because I would have trouble with it. It's Anese, and then Cavanaugh, Cavanaughh. So welcome, Anese. I'm so excited. Like I said earlier off the air, I feel like you're a soul sister and you're perfect for this group of millennials to be listening to you. And you are a wealth of information for them to shine, stand out, and be incredible, have incredible impact for themselves and in the world. So why don't you share with us why, where are we, how you got started writing this book? What was it that got you to write Contagious Culture, and how does it tie into the IEP method?
Okay, great. Well, first of all, Marilyn, thank you so much for having me. Truly, I've been looking forward to this for a while. So thank you very much for having me, and hello, everybody. So Contagious Culture. I wrote this book. I kind of did it a little bit backwards. A lot of people write the book and then they go and they build the business and they do all the stuff that goes with it. And I built the business over the last 14 years and, pulled together this methodology, which is now, it's called the IEP Method, which, as you said earlier, stands for Intentional Energetic Presence. And I pulled this methodology together. I was using it with lots and lots of people in different organizations. And I started to realize that there were these core themes with every single person I worked with. And that so much of what people were bumping up against and their leadership edges and where they were having a hard time creating impact, it boiled down, like 90% of the time, it had something to do with their IEP and how they were showing up. And we could talk a little bit more about that. Mm-hmm. But what was interesting was I realized it was so contagious, So the way that I show up has an impact on the people around me, and not just in a work environment, but, for all my kids, with my partner, with, with my colleagues, whatever. Like when we're in the grocery store, how we show up is contagious. So I'm so right. So, I mean, we're so contagious, and this is a superpower. And so I wanted to get this all into one book, and I wanted to get the IEP method down on paper so that as many people around the world could use it, be touched by it, and they could also start to see that when we talk about culture, I'm not just talking about the organizational culture. That's where we tend to go. I'm also talking about their family culture, their friendship culture, their the culture on their teams, the culture, the culture that lives in our head, like even in our head, our beliefs, our thoughts, all this, how we show up for ourselves, that's contagious. So that's why I put the book. That's why I wrote the book.
Yay. And as I was thinking when you're talking about contagious, and so I know there's a lot of highly sensitive people on here, and I also know that there's a lot of people that think I don't matter. What I do does not matter, and so they don't do anything. And I want you to, I just wanted to share what you do does matter, what you are thinking, how you are feeling does matter, and you really share that in this book. And I want you to, podcast audience to just take a moment and think, when you're out and you're around somebody who's depressed, or somebody who's really high and happy, or somebody that's, just a drama queen or king, how you are affected by them, and understand that it goes both ways. So I just thought that was important to say. And can you share how you give a little bit of your background, like how you even came into doing this work?
Sure, absolutely. So I actually started in kinesiology. I started years ago working with athletes, and I mean, as long as I can remember, like all the way back to my earliest recollection or my earliest memory of this was when I was about 13, 14 years old. I have been obsessed with the body, how our bodies move, how we take care of ourselves impacts how we feel, how we show up in the world. It impacts the way we get stuff done. And I actually started studying kinesiology and nutrition, and I went that pathway, and I really loved it, loved working with athletes, and started to realize that when I worked with the athletes, the thing that I cared the most about was not if they won, as much as I cared that they were really happy and that they felt like they were having impact with their team. That was what was most important to me. And so, long story short, very, very long story short, I moved into working in corporate America, and working with leadership teams on how they were showing up and their health and productivity, and how that impacted, not only how they felt, but the corporation's results. And then I had my babies, and I said I was never going to work again. And that lasted about a year. And missed my work, but really didn't want to go back and get a job. I really wanted to do something that was worth, it was kind of like, what would be worth me leaving these amazing little beings? What would I have to be doing that would feel so good to me that it would justify being away from these guys? And I, very long story short again, created a business on Post-its sitting in the front seat of my Dodge Durango years ago while my son was taking a nap.
I remember hearing that and reading that in your book, and I love that. It's like the inspirations are coming all the time in different places.
Gosh, it was like 100 degrees outside, cars running, my son's asleep, I'm trying to get a workout in, I'm waiting, and I'm just writing on Post-its all over my dashboard, like I love this and I love that. So I built this business, got really fired up about it. It wasn't a business at first. I thought it was just going to be like a little, fun thing that I did. And then over the last 14 years, I've really grown it and built the methodology, and now here we are.
Well, wonderful. Now you just showed everybody kind of how a business grows, and how it starts from an inspiration, and then it takes time and energy to put into it.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So can you? So we were talking about the title of your book is Contagious Culture. So can you define again? We did a little bit of contagious culture. Why? What do both of those words mean, and Why'd you name the book that?
Yeah. Okay. So I believe that how we show up matters. I think, you were speaking to it earlier, everything that every single person is doing, no matter what your job is, no matter what your role is in the world, in your organization, whatever, how you show up matters. And I truly believe that our presence is what creates impact. And, 9 times out of 10, when people come to me, a lot of times they're coming to me, they're going, hey, I've got my MBA. I'm really smart. I'm a super big rainmaker in my company. I was the top salesperson last year, but there's something going on for them that they're not having the impact that they want to have, or they're feeling burnt out, or their relationships are falling apart. And 9 times out of 10, it has to do with this IEP work. It has to do with how they're showing up. And so when you look at contagious culture, contagious, how we show up, I can walk into the grocery store and, grocery store or a team meeting, whatever, pick whichever environment you want to be in. And the energy and the intention and the presence that I bring into there, it is contagious. Mm-hmm. I can either be an energetic add to a room, or I can detract it. And everybody listening to this has had the experience of, as you were saying earlier, you're talking to somebody and they're being really dramatic, or they're just in a land of gossip, or, my favorite is they're sitting there going on and on and on about how busy they are. Mm-hmm. And you can feel your energy, like your life force, start to drain out of you if you're not holding your space. And so they're being contagious. We take that on, and then we do the same thing. And, we've got the ability to be intentional about that, to really set an intention of how do I want to show up, even in the light of this person projecting all their stuff on me. I get to choose in that moment how I want to show up. And if I do it well and I take care of myself, I can actually shift it so that I'm more contagious towards them. Not always, but it's, it works both ways. Mm-hmm. And then the culture piece is just, everywhere I go, it's culture. One of the things that I see a lot, Marilyn, is people will say to me, oh my gosh, if my boss was easier to work with, or if my wife was more understanding, or if my kids listened better, or and they're pointing their fingers out at everybody around them, like this would be so much easier. Mm-hmm. And the thing is if we've got our finger pointed out, we've got 3 fingers pointed back at us. Mm-hmm. And so we've got the superpower to, instead of hoping everybody else is going to change, we've got the superpower to actually intend how we want to interact in that, and then we can start to shift that culture by how we show up.
You know what I just got, and it's sort of a weird. It's just,
I can't wait. What?
It just, as you were talking, and it was like culture, I was thinking of like probiotics in yogurt, right? Or probiotics, that how they sort of just grow, and if you get the right one, you get the right probiotics and you feed it into your gut, it gets rid of all the bad probiotic, the bad gut culture in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I just sort of saw this like, so if people don't know culture.
Absolutely. I mean, and culture can be, if you just think about your kids. So, or not even kids, think about your partner or your friends, or, let's take that team again, because I bet you everybody on here can relate to working with a team. You think about the team, you walk into a room and just think of your team as the culture. Okay. You walk in and you've got 8 people on your team in your team meeting, and 6 of them are, in a really good space. They're high, their energy is good. They're excited to get the work done and everything. But 2 of them, just their energy, their vibration is so low, and they feel like they're just devoted to sinking the energy of the room. They're the ones that are sitting with their arms crossed, or they're naysaying everything, or you walk in the room and your heart sinks because you see them in there. Their presence is having an impact, and their presence is contagious. Those 2 people have the ability to sink the whole room if the other people in the room, and one of those people would be you, if you're not good at holding your state. So it's really easy if you think about contagious. You walk in, those 2 people start complaining. What generally happens is what? 2 people are complaining. What generally happens for the other 6?
They join in.
They join in,
yeah.
Because it's so easy. It's the lowest vibration will win. The lowest vibration will win unless the other people in the room can really hold their state and be intentional about how they want to show up. So, like, if you think about that, it's just contagious. And you got it. You guys totally have it.
And it's like, you get a group of people meet and your friends, and it's like, they start talking about the weather instead of like, let's talk about the weather again. Instead of like, oh my God, my life is so exciting, or this is happening. What's happening to you? And, or this creative idea is coming up, and I'm so in love with life, and it's just like, no, let's talk about the weather.
Right. Or how busy we are.
Right.
Oh,
Or how
gosh,
busy.
so busy.
Right.
My favorite contagion, and this really applies to this audience. My favorite contagion is to talk about purpose and impact. I mean, for anybody listening to this, it's, I come back to two things always. And the first thing is, be yourself. In the book, there's an entire section on what I call the essential you. And it's just about being so authentically you, just being you, not being anybody else, being you, because there's only one of you in the entire universe, and it is magical if you own it. And so the first part is be yourself. The second part is to be in service of, like, to really go for impact, positive impact in the world. So if you get somebody who is in that conversation and they're being themselves and they're focused on creating positive impact, and they start to talk from that place about purpose, that to me is the most powerful contagion you can ask for anywhere.
So why don't you, I don't want to skip over, let's talk about the IEP method.
Okay.
and then let's go more into the essential you, because I love that our audience knows that they and how them being the essential you, that they're owning their superpowers then. That they all have these superpowers that they're going to find out about.
I know so much. I know, and you all have them. We have so many of them. It's so much fun.
So exciting.
Okay, so we should tell them what IEP stands for.
Yes.
You're right. So intentional energetic presence, and there's two ways of looking at it. One is if you just take that as one phrase, intentional energetic presence, it basically is being intentional about the energy and the presence you bring into any situation. It's just being intentional about how you show up. If you break it down a little bit more, you've got your intention, which is what you want to have happen. So it's a proclamation of, this is what I want to have happen. You have your energy, which to me is about how you take care of yourself, the energy you have to sustain yourself as a leader. Because let's face it, we've got some really amazing opportunities to tackle in this world. We've got, careers to grow, businesses to build. We need our energy and our stamina. So the energy is taking care of yourself and then being conscious of the energy you bring to everything you do. And then your presence is about how you show up, your physical presence. Some people think of this as stage presence. But I also think of it as how present you are in the moment with the human being you're talking to. How present you are to what's happening in your life, how present you are in this exact moment. So you put those three together and you have IEP.
Great. Is this, would you say it's also this, that, in order to be present, you need to feel? Because I get a lot of people don't feel, they're in their heads thinking. And so you're talking, having a conversation with somebody and you're thinking, oh, I wonder if they're thinking I'm stupid. What's the next question I have to ask? So you're not even listening. Right. And then the other is to be aware of what's happening in your life. You have to allow some space to let your body feel what's going on. How are you feeling in this moment? Are you feeling safe or unsafe? Are you feeling expanded, contracted? Are you feeling happy? You want to go skip? You want to work, or you need a break? Are you tired? Like most people, a lot of burnout, they can't even feel that they're tired. It's like, no, I gotta be busy, right? That's a big thing for you in this book, is a culture of people who are busy.
So it's so true. It's so true. And I cannot tell you how many times I've been giving a talk or I'm leading a session or something. And there's a couple exercises that I do with every single group. And one of them is I have people get really present in their body to how they're feeling. And then we have a couple things that we really look at and dive into. And almost every single time I have somebody come up to me afterwards and go, oh my gosh, I thought I was like an 8 or a 9 I thought I was doing really great. And when I really sunk into this exercise, I realized I'm exhausted and I'm a 2, or I thought I was present and I am not present at all, because they're thinking all the time,
right.
They're going, what's she going to do next? What's the next part of the exercise? And I think that that's a really common thing that we bump up against, especially, with millennials. There's so much stuff to do. And so it can be so easy to get caught up in that trap of what's next or what just happened versus what's happening right now.
Right.
How am I doing and what's the impact I want to have?
Yes, yes. So it's really slowing down,
Yeah.
slowing way down, like getting off of our electronic things and touching in with ourselves and touching in with other people around us. It isn't about speeding up. That doesn't, so give the opposite, like of somebody who is not conscious. So why don't you describe to them so those people that can see that what's going on with them when they're not present.
The people that are not okay, give that.
Yeah.
You want the far extreme?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Go
All right.
extreme.
So I'll give you a real life scenario. So I think she's in the book too. Someone who's not present, they wake up in the morning, they jump right out of bed, they've hit snooze a couple times, they jump in, they run downstairs, they grab something that's not really great to eat, they're not conscious when they're eating their meals, they say goodbye to their kids or their family or whoever really, really fast, they go to work, they're running late for work, they get in, they're not present to their team, they're just constantly thinking about what's next or whatever all the things I have to do today. They don't give themselves any breaks in between meetings to meetings, so there's no thinking time. Even on the commute into work, whether they're on the train or they're in their car, they're thinking, and they're not breathing. They're not actually there. I could go on and on and on with this. The food, that's a place that I really look at with people in presence is, if you want to do one thing listening to this, it's going to sound so, it probably sounds so simple, but it's so powerful. It's like to slow down, to notice when you're eating your food, to notice where your feet hit the ground, your bottom hits the seat, you notice your breathing, you connect with your food, and you actually taste it. Mm-hmm. It's little things like that. So this person is not connected with their food, and then they're leading through that energy. So what happens is they go to their team now experiences them as not present. In every conversation, the conversations are quick, and what ends up happening with that kind of a leader is they end up leaving a lot of dead bodies behind. And not literally, that is, they leave dead bodies behind where people don't feel seen, they don't feel connected with, they don't feel honored. And so they end up they end up feeling less than for working with this person. So that's an extreme of not being present. You want to go even further extreme is they've got all sorts of health issues that are going on. They don't even realize it. And they end up in the hospital and they're like, oh, wow, I didn't realize I had this, So we could go on and on. I actually get stressed out even
talking about it. I'm like, stop.
My heart rate is up right now. I got to breathe in some oil or something. Like it's stressful to even think about it. But everybody listening to this knows that person or has been that person or might be that person. And it's totally cool. It's being aware of it and then deciding what you want to do with it.
Yeah. So it's being conscious that this is happening and then creating an intention of what you want in your life and then aligning all the energies with it, right? Mm-hmm. And then choosing and taking action to show up a different way.
Yeah, exactly. And when I think about IEP, you can look at this as, if you look at the actual IEP method, there's 3 components to it. And the first is the simplest, which is just doing presence reboots just throughout your day. Even right now, I just gave everyone that scenario, and even I felt the stress of that scenario, right? So it's the presence reboot is taking a deep breath in, getting present again to this moment, and thinking about how do I want to feel right now, and how do I want to show up. So that's part 1, just a presence reboot. We can do that a million times a day. The second component is creating intentional outcomes. And there's an entire chapter in the book on crafting intentional impact that covers it. There's tools. I can give you guys a website later. There's tools they can download where they can get that formula, but it's creating intentional outcomes. And then the third thing, which is the biggest thing that is happening every single day, and to me, once you learn about it, it's you can't go back, which is to build a really strong IEP foundation in how you take care of yourself, how you honor yourself, how you set your environment up for success, the relationships you have. It's just constantly every single day noticing, is my presence, is the way I'm setting myself up for success, is the food I'm putting in my body, are the people in my life, is it setting me up to feel more energetically alive and full, like full in a really good way, or is it exhausting me? Mm-hmm. And I believe that is the work of a leader, is to build their strongest IEP foundation possible so that they can not only feel amazing, but they can go out and create amazing impact in the world.
Well, and when you feel, strong and healthy and vital and alive and excited about yourself, then you're just naturally going to inspire that in the other people around you. And, so an example of this would be clutter in an office. Particularly if you're highly sensitive, you're completely drained by clutter around you, or not having, just being under, bad lighting and not having anything natural around you. Colors of walls, people, the people you surround, you talk about that too. Surrounding yourself with certain personalities that support you rather than drain you. So let's talk about superpowers. So we already said you started talking about the intention. So I think that's a good lead in, right?
Yeah. Well, I think your number one superpower is to take care of yourself. I think your number one, and I really want to underline this, especially for this group. I want to underline this for everybody listening, for all of us. It's this idea of self-care in the world that we live in right now with busyness and all this stuff. It's so easy to put that on the back burner. And to me, your number one of your top superpowers is self-care. It's the ability to take a moment to really look at, are you setting yourself up for success? Because from there, just as you were just speaking to, from there, everything else becomes easier. On the plane, when the plane starts going down, the attendants always say, the oxygen mask drops out, please put it on yourself first before you even take care of your children or anyone around you, because you've got to make sure that you're okay in order to help more people. So one superpower that, it's just that people, I think, take for granted and kind of don't realize how essential it is in leadership is the superpower of self-care. So that's one.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, I just wanted to say that this is the biggest, I just feel like this is so important for everybody to hear, because a lot of people don't think they're enough and they're not worthy. And, so they have this low self-esteem about them. And so they don't pay attention to themselves. And this self-care, if you look at people who are having impact in the world, I don't even want to use the word success because that's different for everybody. But people who are creating change, who are, whether it's in music, whether it's in innovation of, going to Mars, whether it's, around tech or lifestyle or designing clothes or, whatever it is, those people understand this. This is like, you can't have impact and not do this. So if you are wanting to have impact in the world, you have to understand you do matter and you are worthy and you are good enough. And nobody can tell you that except for you. And it shows up in you taking care of yourself. So that's my little lecture.
I love that lecture. You and I could spend 8 hours. I am not kidding, talking about this topic. I am certain, because the way that I hold it also is that the more that we care for ourselves, then the more we teach others to value us. The more we value ourselves, the more we teach others to value us, and the more value we can create in the world. So it's a win-win-win all the way around. Yes. And for people that are thinking that they don't, like, we're worthy just because we are. We're here. Like, we've got great things to do. Yeah. It's so the self-care piece, the more you can, whatever that means for you. And I'm not here to say, like, don't eat gluten and exercise 8 times a week. It's not about that. It's about nourishing yourself and nourishing your spirit. So you create your own combination of whatever that self-care is. So you feel good, and it does not matter. Again, it does not matter what your role is or what your job is or what you've got, how much money you make or anything. It's you. So that's all, that's it. It's you. So that's why this is important.
Yeah. And the more you do that, the more you take care of yourself, and just whether it's good food or getting out and walking around the block, then you start feeling better about who you are just naturally. It's like, oh, you're loving me. It's just like, it's self-love.
I think, and I know we're a little bit on a tangent, but I think this is so worth saying is that, a lot of times people only feel valued if they're being told, like we'll do this exercise where it's like, what do you need to be successful? And they'll be like, I need respect. I need to be listened to. I need to feel valued. And they're looking for things externally from other people. So they only feel valued if other people are telling them that they're value in some way, shape, or form. And that, while I understand it, boy, that's a painful place. That's a painful way to go, because the thing that I'll always have people do instead is I'll have them look at, okay, how are you with valuing yourself? How are you with listening to yourself? How are you respecting yourself? Because if I'm looking externally for other people to do that for me, I could be waiting for a really long time. But if I put it back on myself and I respect myself and I listen to myself and I value myself, all of a sudden that need from external sources becomes less and less and less. And I become more and more powerful. And then ironically, I get more value and respect and more listening to, because I am now projecting that self-worth.
Right. Fabulous.
So I just thanks for the tangent.
I know. I'm just, my gut's just saying, make a point of this. Because I think this is where it's foundation. You can't build a house if you don't, you can't build a house, a career, a family, a relationship if that's healthy if you don't have, and strong if you don't have this.
Yeah. No, you can't lead from burnout.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah. Not well, at least.
Okay.
So back to your thing. So you wanted to know.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Marilyn.
No.
Where did you want to go? Essentially you?
So yes. And I'm just saying, so we're at the 30-minute mark, and I just want to, be, regarding your time and everything and our listeners' time. So so what can you share around the essential you, and then we'll share where they can find out more. We're going to leave them wanting so much more from
that's yes. And I will say, please, from the bottom of my heart, grab the book. Really, there's so much in it. And I don't say that to sell you another book. I say it, I've got goosebumps right now. I say it because I really want you to have it. Like from the bottom of my heart, I want people to have this. The essential you, here's what I'll give you the highlight of it is, there's a couple different components. One is, your core purpose, like why you do the work you do. I think that is the pathway to so much magic in our lives, is just to get in touch with why we're doing what we want to do. Your core values, what's really important to you, and your vision. So there are exercises in the book. There's a lot more in the book around like, how do you actually distill down to that? How do you actually kind of figure out what's important to you so you can be as authentically you as possible? It's one of the big things I see happen is people, they want something, and they don't get it, or they do get it. And then they're like, oh, that's okay. Well, now what's next? And they don't get the kind of fulfillment and joy that they thought they were going to get. And a lot of times it's because the thing that they want is externally imposed. Their mom thinks they should have it, or their team thinks they should have it, or culture thinks they should have it, but it wasn't what they wanted.
Right.
So the stronger you can be with the essential you and really getting clear on who the heck you are, this beautiful, amazing being, who are you, the stronger that becomes. And then the second component of the essential you, which is really important, is what I call bubbling up. And the art of bubbling up is imagining that you've got this amazing bubble around you. And I think of it as like 18 inches all the way around. Some people would call this an aura. So whatever language resonates for you is awesome. I think of it as the bubble. And this bubble, inside the bubble is you. It's all your energy. It's you. It's yours. It's nobody else's. Outside the bubble is the rest of the world. And there are ways to work with this, but the short of it is that you've got this bubble. You get to choose what you let in and out of your space. And the more you build your IEP foundation, the more you set yourself up for success with your environment and your people and your food and everything, the stronger your bubble becomes. And the more you can really control, or not control, but the more you can more easily navigate how you move through your life and how you deal with the energy suckers and the, whatever you're bumping up against. So those are the two things with Essential You. It's your core values and purpose and vision, and then bubbling up.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend you guys get this book too. It really is very foundational, beautifully written, or you can also listen to it. So it's just a wonderful resource, very valuable resource, I would say.
Thank you so much.
Anese, so where can they find out more information and connect with you?
Great. So I have a couple things for you guys. One, if you go to iep.io, we right now have a special site up. We have a special page up. I don't know how long it will be up, but as long as my team will keep it up, we'll keep it up. So iep.io, if you go to that, that was going to put you into a system where you get a ton of resources. So starter kits and excerpts from the book, and gosh, there's a bunch of stuff in there. So you're welcome to that. You can also go to anesecavanaugh.com, which thank you, Marilyn, for spelling my name out. I really appreciate that. I can't tell you how many people are asking me to change my name lately. It's really funny.
No, it's you.
I'm not doing it.
No.
We'll just make it, that's why we did IEP.io to help it make it easier for people. So anesecavanaugh.com. And then the other thing I was just telling Marilyn before we started the show is I just wrote this manifesto called Showing Up. And you can get that. We can put it in the show notes, but you can get that on Change This. But it's a fun little manifesto. It's one of the most fun things I've ever had writing, because it was really just a brain dump of the way that I think about some stuff, and it's just been kind of fun to see how it's unfolded and where it's going and who's resonating with it. So I'd highly encourage you guys to download that. It's free. You just go to the site.
So where on the site is it again?
It's, you know what, it is on my site. If they go to the articles and interviews page on my site.
Articles and interviews.
Yeah, on that page, we can get you the more specific links, Marilyn. But if they go to that page, it's the first one. There's like a bunch of articles and interviews recently, and that I think I had them put that at the very top, so they can just download it. Yeah.
Okay, great, wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And did we miss anything? Anything you're feeling coming through, inspired to say before we say goodbye?
I would just say that I'm really excited from the bottom of my heart. I'm really excited about your audience. I'm really excited about this group of people and what everyone's up to. And I've gotten goosebumps so many times during our talk. Just today, I've gotten so many goosebumps. But I'm so excited about what everyone's up to. And I just come back to, just show up. Like, take really good care of yourself and show up and get out there and do the work. And thank you. And that's it. That's what I got.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We so appreciate you, and we'll be sharing you all over the place. So
thank you.
And then I want to say to my audience, so if you feel hungry to listen to more inspiring interviews and informative podcasts like this one, you can go to MarilynO'Malley.com, or you can go to iTunes under Millennials and Money Cafe, and you can go to my MarilynO'Malley.com and sign up for a newsletter which covers topics like today's. And we also have guests come on and do blogs. So maybe you can share a blog with us, and Anese, and people can hear more about the topics that we discussed today and what we didn't even get to, which we could spend hours on. And also, guys, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and check out the Huffington Post. I have articles on there too. So all over the place. And YouTube, lots of tapping on all of those thoughts and feelings that are keeping you stuck. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Anese, and look forward to